You are chewing a piece of fresh meat beside a cold fire, and your body may be quietly craving something you cannot see: sodium. Not because you are weak, not because your food is bland, because your nerves need it, your muscles need it, and without enough of it, your body can fail. Dry mouth, cramping legs, a mind that stops thinking clearly. For ancient humans, salt was not a luxury seasoning. It was part of staying alive. By the end, you will understand the surprising difference between humans eating sodium naturally and humans deliberately making salt. Because the first humans did not necessarily need to sprinkle white crystals onto food. But once farming changed the menu, salt became something worth finding, boiling, carrying, trading, and sometimes risking your life for. The first salt users were not simply chasing flavor. They were solving a survival problem. Picture an early Neolithic camp in what is now northeastern Romania, more than 8,000 years ago. Smoke rises from fires near a spring so salty that its water contains about 160 grams of salt per liter, roughly 6 times the salinity of seawater. People collect the water, they heat it, they wait, and slowly, water disappears while a precious mineral remains. Find the thing your body cannot replace. Researchers studying hunter-gatherer diets discovered something important. At first, they thought early humans must have constantly searched for added salt, just as many people do today. Then they realized that animal foods, fish, blood, plants, drinking water, and natural mineral sources could already provide sodium. A review of estimates for Paleolithic diets suggested daily salt intake may have been far lower than in many modern diets, while still being enough for the body's basic needs. That means ancient humans were almost certainly consuming sodium long before anyone made neat piles of salt crystals. But archaeology has a problem. Salt dissolves. A pinch of seasoning leaves almost no trace after thousands of years. So researchers cannot tell us the exact day a human first licked a salty rock, drank mineral water, or noticed that sea spray tasted strange. The earliest salt eating is invisible. The earliest salt making is not. And that is where the evidence suddenly gets hotter. Archaeologists found one of the strongest clues at Poiana Slatinei in Romania. At first, they thought the dark layers of ash, charcoal, and burned soil were simply the remains of ordinary campfires. Then they realized the site sat beside a salt spring and contained evidence of repeated heating activity. Radiocarbon dates place the earliest known exploitation there between about 6050 and 5500 BCE. The deposit is enormous, roughly 60 meters long, 25 meters wide, and nearly 3 meters high in places. This was not one family accidentally boiling salty water. Evidence suggests people returned again and again, heating brine to concentrate or crystallize salt. Researchers still debate exactly how much was eaten, preserved with, fed to animals, or exchanged. But the important part is clear. By the early Neolithic, humans were deliberately working to obtain salt, not merely finding it, making it. And once a community can make salt, it can carry survival into the future. Researchers have long compared mobile hunter-gatherer diets with the diets of farming communities. At first, it seems obvious that farming should make life safer. Then they realized farming could also make diets narrower. Grains, beans, and stored foods helped feed larger settlements, but many plant-heavy diets contain less sodium than diets rich in wild animal foods. Salt also did something even more powerful. It helped preserve food. Meat, fish, and other foods could last longer when treated with salt, making seasonal hunger less terrifying and long journeys more possible. This does not mean every farming village suddenly faced a salt emergency. Different environments offered different foods, mineral springs, coastlines, and trade routes. But it helps explain why salt became valuable in a way a fresh kill often was not. A hunted animal disappears in days. Salt can help make food outlast winter. And winter does not care how brave you are. Archaeologists found the next escalation high above Hallstatt, Austria. At first, People may imagine prehistoric salt gathering as simple scraping from a dry lake bed. Then they realized that later communities went underground. At Hallstatt, the Natural History Museum Vienna identifies fully developed salt mining by around 1500 BCE. Miners entered dark passages to break rock salt from the mountain. The salt-rich conditions preserved objects that usually rot away: wooden tool handles, ropes, leather, textiles, containers, food remains, and even grass. Researchers also found evidence of wooden stairs linking different levels inside the Bronze Age mine. This is extraordinary because prehistoric work is usually known through stone, bone, pottery, or metal. Here, the salt preserved a human workplace. You can almost see the torchlight. You can imagine the climb. You can feel why a mineral became worth organizing labor around. The search for salt had become an industry. Imagine walking into a mountain where daylight disappears behind you. Imagine carrying heavy salt while smoke, dust, steep stairs, and darkness surround you. Imagine knowing your family's stored food may depend on what comes out of that tunnel. Would you go deeper? For many ancient people, the answer may have been yes, because salt was not only something placed on dinner, it was a way to protect tomorrow's dinner. But the story is not just about danger. Salt production required cooperation. Someone had to find the spring. Someone had to gather fuel. Someone had to tend the fire. Someone had to carry vessels, watch children, prepare food, transport salt, and share what the group produced. At Hallstatt, archaeological evidence of tools, containers, ropes, and stairs reveals coordinated work rather than one lone hero in a cave. Cooperation was humanity's greatest weapon. Honestly, I think this is what makes the story so human. A tiny crystal mattered because people turned knowledge into shared survival. Your brain still notices salt. Your body still uses sodium to help regulate fluids and support nerve and muscle function. And your taste for salty food may feel ordinary now because salt is everywhere. But for most of human history, getting enough was not automatic. It was learned. It was labor. It was survival. We cannot know every detail of when the first person intentionally tasted salt, but the science underneath is solid. Humans consumed sodium naturally long before recorded history. The earliest strong archaeological evidence for deliberate salt production dates to roughly 6050 BCE in Romania. From a salty spring to a dark mountain mine, one invisible mineral helped ancient humans keep food, share work, and face the cold. Before salt became flavor, it was survival.